What in the heck is going on? This work? Okay. Holy moly. I had a whole computer meltdown. What's up, guys? We got an active shooter.
As the situation continues to develop, this all started
Active
just after
shooter, University.
Emory University had sent out an update, an alert, telling people that there was an active shooter situation and they should run, hide, fight. That was when we started to get the reports about the shots fired, and then you saw just a huge amount of law enforcement start to focus around the CVS building. Now we're hearing sirens go off, and it's unclear why. We had heard sirens go off also just after 5 when this situation first started, so it's not clear why they're going off again now.
Yeah, it's Eric Perry, we have your camera. Wondering if we have you as well. What more can you tell us about what we're hearing out there?
Yeah, I want to take a pause. Take a listen to this. There is a siren that I mentioned earlier. It went off again, and then when that goes off, I see law enforcement starting to move up. And then you asked if there was still a presence or people coming in. Well, probably about 5 minutes ago, that DeKalb police SWAT vehicle pulled up as well. See some people starting to get off. This is a drone team that I've learned. It looks like they're with the fire department. I saw a drone go up and go over the scene as well. We've seen some helicopters flying very, very low. I'm still very curious, and I'll ask around about that siren. Not sure if that's something on the campus of CDC or Emory or what have you, but you can hear that siren very loudly. And this is the second time since I've been here we can hear that type of siren.
What is going on, man?
And
This
then
is
also
insane.
you can see that DeKalb police SWAT vehicle that just pulled up as well. And again, just an immense presence as you can see. This is going up to Briarcliff Road, if you're familiar where that barbecue spot is, Pig and Chick. And then there's a QT on the other side as well here. And then just still an immense presence as people are coming in and going out. And that siren is lasting longer than the last time as well. And I can see some other officers running up to the scene as well. Courtney, Tom.
Yeah, perhaps indicating, Eric, that this situation isn't over, because as you said, that siren is wailing much longer than the first one, which initially alerted us. We can hear that siren here in our studio. Just to give you an idea of how close Fox 5 is to this scene and why our marketing director was able to hear those long gunshots go off when this whole thing unfolded just before 5 o'clock this evening, right when that CDC campus would have been letting out for the evening those 9-to-5ers who work there. Obviously, it's a 24-hour operation. But just to kind of set the scene for you there, as we're looking live from Skyfox 5, this all unfolded in the CVS drugstore, which is right in the middle and the top of your screen, the entrance to the drugstore there, and directly across the street from the CDC, the entrance of which is right across the street there. You can see the entrance to the CDC. We've seen officers with their guns drawn enter that drugstore. We've seen them staged there on Clifton Road, which is shut down and lined with a sea of officers. And we have unconfirmed reporting now, though visual reporting from what we've seen from Skyfox 5 of a body being brought out of the CDC.
I heard that officer was down. I don't know if that's true.
We just don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, don't know, but we're working.
Oh, look at that vehicle. What's up with that vehicle? Wow. What in the world?
information for us from the newsroom.
There we go.
Russ, what do you know?
We have one more data point, Tom and Courtney, that I want to share with you, and we have a picture that I will share with you as soon as we have it ready to put on television. But we have a picture from inside the CDC of a broken window that had been shot at. Now, it raises the possibility that perhaps the CDC was one of the targets of what happened this afternoon.
The CDC? Really a target?
About an hour ago here in Northeast Atlanta. Perhaps it was a stray bullet, but the CDC was shot at. We have pictures of the bullet holes from inside the building showing the workspace area and the window that had been broken by that gunshot this afternoon at the CDC. So what we have reported is that this was located primarily at the CVS. Whether the shooter was standing on the sidewalk there and fired in the direction of the CDC, we do not know at this point. But the police officers, we saw that DeKalb County police car that was riddled with bullets. That was sort of down the hill, and that's not in the direction where this building that was hit is located. That's more, actually, from the shooter's perspective, would have been to the left across Clifton Road. So some of this is supposition, so I take that for what it's worth. But what we do know, and we'll show you the picture as soon as we have it produced here and are prepared to put it on TV, is that a window was pierced by a bullet at the CDC this afternoon. That's the new information.
And so we talked about, Russ, just the proximity of these high-profile institutions across the street from the CVS, which you and I and Courtney and, frankly, everyone in this building has probably been in and out of on multiple occasions. It is a busy drugstore because of the corridor that lines Clifton Road there. As we wait that picture so we can show you, not known right now is whether this was just erroneous gunfire that wound up over on the CDC campus because of the proximity to the CVS, or whether, as you say, it was possibly an intended target. That information is just not known at this hour. As you take a live look at the scene from Skyfox 5, and I'll tell you what you're looking at. You're looking at the CVS drugstore there on the left side of the road, and then the CDC right across the street, and the police vehicles there lining each side of the drugstore and the scene where all of this unfolded.
Yeah, and also just to put a finer point on it, you're not seeing it there in the picture from Skyfox 5, but just above where you're seeing the picture cut off, to the right-hand side across Clifton Road from the CVS entrance there is actually a daycare center that services employees of the CDC and of Emory, quite a few institutions there in that area. So it's unclear whether that daycare center was in service at the time, but I'm looking here at their website and it says they normally operate from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that would be within the zone of when this was all going on. Of course, we're not getting any reports that this daycare center was affected in any way, but it is quite close to where this is all happening.
Yeah, not to mention there's an assisted living facility just down from that on Clifton Road toward Briarcliff, Bud Terrace and other Emory-sponsored assisted living and recovery centers where folks are. And of course, you have the massive hospital. These are pictures, we believe, of the CDC window, which was struck by gunfire.
What is going on,
now,
man?
I'm going to go out on a limb here just because of the level of security over at the CDC and speculate that these are bulletproof windows. But look at the shatter in that window, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very scary. It looks like those are cubicles located right next to where the bullet hole is in the glass there, and it looks like it's on a higher floor as well.
Yeah, that's what strikes me, Courtney, exactly. That's a higher floor. That's if you don't mind my saying so, it does not look like a stray bullet up in that direction. If someone was pointing it at police officers, a
What
bullet
was he
would
aiming
not
at, though? Just
have
random?
hit that building
Hoping to kill
at
somebody?
that altitude. It wouldn't seem.
Yeah, and it would take a certain type of firearm to reach a level that
cause
is
that kind of
above
impact.
the ground floor and that kind of impact. So.
Yeah, and so some extraordinary visuals here of the impact that an alleged bullet from a rifle or a long gun caused to that is perspective from the CDC itself. You can see employee cubicles there, which looks like it's kind of high above the scene where all of this happened. As we continue our coverage of the shooting at the CVS drugstore on Clifton Road across from the Centers for Disease Control, this photo just into the Fox 5 newsroom of an impact of a bullet at the window of the CDC. We know there has been at least one fatality here, a body carried out of the CVS drugstore, which we saw just a short time ago, and police activity, which has not let up, by the way. This has been a solid hour and 10 or 15 minutes or so police activity along the Clifton Road corridor from Briarcliff Road all the way, you can imagine, to just about the Emory University complex. And if you're familiar with this area, there's a nursing school which sort of begins Emory University there, and then it kind of unfolds to the old children's hospital and then the main hospital of Emory Healthcare.
Yeah, and we understand both Emory University and Emory University Hospital have been placed on lockdown as this is all unfolding. I wouldn't be surprised if those lockdowns extend to other buildings within this area. There are retail stores, restaurants, many businesses. It's a rather densely populated area as well. So unclear what kind of measures police have taken to establish a perimeter.
Friday,
but they've
right?
also shut down Clifton Road, several other roads in the area also. We also saw on our air in the last hour a car belonging to DeKalb police that had been looked like had been shot and was leaking fluids from the car. There were just so many points of interest where police were congregating, also around the entrance. They were hiding behind a dumpster at one point, and then we reported that a body had been removed from the CVS building in the last half hour or so.
And I don't know if Skyfox 5 can hear us. There was a white vehicle in front of the CVS that had all the doors and the trunks open, wondering if that was somehow related to this scene. Right at the entrance, Skyfox, if you can pan up a little bit. Yes, there it is. This was a white vehicle that I noticed earlier. The hood open, doors open. You know, speculation at this point whether that might be related to the scene or not. We're being really discreet with our live pictures here, just based on what we've seen coming out of that drugstore. So we want to be really respectful of the process here as authorities continue to swarm and surround not only the CVS, but Courtney, as you mentioned, there's retail stores in there and an apartment complex, which is right on top of the CVS drugstore. So how residents were impacted or how they were told to keep themselves safe, we just don't know at this hour. But the latest reporting is, and we're wondering, since Grady Memorial Hospital is a level 1 trauma center, if the shooting victims, which we know are at least one police officer and at least one civilian victim, we're going to be transported to Grady Memorial Hospital. But with Emory University only feet away, the emergency room there, it just made more sense for emergency responders to transport those victims there. One is in surgery, we understand. We presume it's the DeKalb County police officer who was shot, and we're working to learn more about his or her status at this point.
Also seen a presence from the FBI there on scene, and they just released this statement saying that they're aware of the incident and are coordinating with their local partner.
All right, let me show this video clip. This person said, an active shooter near Emory by my apartment. Let's check this out. You can hear the shooting. Wow. Yeah, you hear the shooting.
for coffee, Mel.
Oh, thank you. Really, thank you. Okay, and there's another video clip. Oh, it's the same one. Okay. Wow.
Their apartment complex, which is above that CVS, and of course several different areas as well. And this is a drone unit that they've been in the drone, so they're using every resource possible here on the scene as they're still going in and out. We've seen SWAT, and again I saw FBI agents here on the scene.
Eric, quick question for you, if you can hear us. You had mentioned that they were using that drone, that they were flying that up and over the CVS. Just to clarify, is that something that you've seen happen in the last 10, 15 minutes or so?
Officer has passed away. They must have the shooter because they just released all ambulances except for one. Officer has passed away. They just released all ambulances except for one. Thanks, Mel.
And I've been out here for probably a good 30 minutes or so, and they have that all the way up, but I haven't seen it return, so that drone is still presumably still up in the air.
What do they, Eric, what do they use the drone for? Do you know? I mean, have you seen police dispatch drones before in situations like this?
So yes, when I was out at Appalachia High School, they used a drone as well. A lot of times they can get just that aerial view. It can get a little closer than the helicopters that they can use up as well. They can also use it, I've seen it in different fire situations, but the heat sensors, so if there are any other bodies or any other presence that's inside of maybe that CVS or any of the buildings nearby, they can use that technology there, which is really relatively new, but really important to see and kind of scope out so they don't have to put the lives of the officers going inside. They can use that drone and the heat sensors to see if there are any bodies or any presence inside of a building before they make initial contact inside as well. Not sure if that's what they're using this for in particular, but that's what I've seen used in past situations similar to this.
Okay, Eric, thanks for that perspective there from the ground. And we're also just seeing another update in the last 15 minutes from Emory saying to continue to shelter in place, just letting people know that law enforcement is on scene. If you're in the area, you don't need to be told. I mean, you can clearly see it.
And we heard the siren. We heard it here in the studio, the siren wailing just over at the Emory campus and the CDC. Fox 5's Russ Spencer joining us from the newsroom once again. Russ, we understand you have some new information for us.
Yeah, just some new perspective from our colleague in Sky Fox 5. Again, this is officially still an active shooter situation, but our colleague in the helicopter has been watching this situation evolve over the last more than an hour now. And in the last 15 minutes or so, not only have we reported that there is a body under a sheet outside that CVS, he says, in his estimation, it appears that police are now in investigative mode, not in active shooter mode, and that Atlanta police helicopters have now left the scene. So take that for what you will. It is a developing situation, but apparently they are investigating now as opposed to being in an active shooter posture. Bullet holes, this is new information, bullet holes in buildings 21 and 24 of the CDC and possibly building 18. And we are expecting more photos to come into the Fox 5 newsroom, and this would seem to suggest that this was not an accident. This was not a stray bullet that hit the CDC. We're looking at the broken window there from the inside at what appears to be a floor.
Who would attack the CDC,
not near the
though?
ground. I can't tell from this vantage point whether it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th floor, but there are many floors in some of those buildings, tall buildings there at the CDC. And bullet holes in 2 and perhaps 3 of them. So it would appear, this is based on just common sense, that the CDC was perhaps a target of this shooting. We did not know that before.
If you guys could help me out with a like button, please, and share out the live stream. Crazy breaking news. What the hell?
Find out
unfortunately, somebody's deceased, they're saying.
We've just been pointing out.
Wow, look at the response. What's going on?
Proximity of the
Something
CDC,
in the water?
which is just,
It's the medication, mental health. They're going to say mental health.
With all that's been
Autism?
happening, it's sitting right there. If you've ever driven by the CDC, and Russ, Courtney, you certainly know this, it is just a fortress, basically. You can't get in there if you're not supposed to be in there. So, you know, the only way this perhaps could have happened was from a distance. And if you look at the impact of that window, that was one very, very powerful firearm that penetrated or almost penetrated that window.
It would have to be. We understand our Deidre Dukes has arrived on scene. Deidre, tell us your exact location and what you're finding out right now.
We are joining you live along Cliftondale Road, just off of Houston Mill Road. Still a very active scene here right now. As you can see from the pictures that we're showing you, you have dozens of police cars lining Clifton Road. You have officers who are rerouting traffic around this area. Just up the street where you see the sea of blue lights is where the CDC, the area of the CDC and that CVS that you all have been referencing is located. Just down the hill here, just past the side of our camera, is where Emory Hospital is located. We have still seen, even now, even though the immediate threat does appear to be over at this point, we still have officers arriving here on scene with lights flashing, sirens blaring. We have also seen some FBI respond here in military garb, and military vehicles arrive on scene just a short time ago. Now, I have had a brief conversation with an Atlanta police spokesperson. They are at this hour still gathering information, and they are in the process of setting up a staging area where the media will, of course, gather and will get more information. But from what I am hearing, we are at the point where I am told there are multiple scenes, still not clear on what exactly that means, but there are multiple scenes, I have been told. We also are hearing out here, no official confirmation right now, but we are hearing from police sources that the shooter is dead. It's unclear whether that individual shot themselves or if they were shot by perhaps a law enforcement officer or another individual. Also, as you all have been reporting, we have heard here on scene that an officer was wounded, and we're still trying to get information as to the circumstances surrounding that. But I can tell you, as I was making my way here, there were just dozens and dozens of police cars, Georgia State Patrol, APD, DeKalb County, several jurisdictions rolling here on scene. Reports of the active shooter here in the area of the CDC, and everyone came at once.
Okay, Deidre, some really, really important information that you just gave us. You broke some news here in that you're reporting that the shooter is dead and that there may be not one but multiple scenes in the area.
That is what I'm hearing from police sources. We are still waiting to get that information confirmed. As you know, during a very fluid situation scene as we are experiencing here now live on air, we're still working to gather information. But yes, that is what I have been told, that there appear to be multiple scenes, and that right now law enforcement officials are gathering all that information so they can provide us
for the 1,100 likes.
Next half hour
wow,
or so,
man.
Detailed information as to what transpired out here. Still no word on our end as far as other than that police officer. If anyone else was injured in this incident, we continue to work out here, but we are being kept back at a distance, understandably, as law enforcement works, Tom, initially to get the situation under control, and then to start to care for those, see to those who may be injured, gather witnesses up, collect evidence, do all the things that are done here immediately following a massive incident as we're seeing here on Clifton Road this afternoon.
Yeah, Deidre, and with the reporting that there may be multiple scenes involved here, does it appear that any resources are being moved away from the CVS, perhaps that situation has now been resolved?
I am frankly, it's such a distance from the CVS that I just really can't see from our vantage point. I will say that you have officers clearing the area. You have cars leaving, but at the same time, again, you have cars, whether it be to replace those individuals who are leaving, you have cars arriving here at the same time. So really just very fluid out here right now.
All right, indeed, Deidre, we can see from our live pictures, but thanks for that information. Important information from Fox 5's Deidre Dukes there, not far from the scene where all of this is happening, that we have one person dead, and according to police, that person is the shooter in all of this. We also may perhaps have more
thank you
than
for the
one
memberships
scene here, not only at the CVS drugstore located right across the street from the CDC on Clifton Road, but perhaps other locations as well. Whether that means there's more than one suspect involved here, we don't know the answer to that question. What we do know about other casualties is that a police officer and somebody presumably inside the CVS who were hit by gunfire have been transported to Emory University Hospital, which is literally yards from where all of this is unfolding.
That's right. And we've also have confirmation that there have been gunshots that struck windows at the CDC. Our Russ Spencer just reported that information in the last 10 minutes or so, that it hit buildings 21 and 24, possibly building 18. We're still working to find out which buildings those are. Of course, the CDC does work in all sorts of different areas, so it's unclear if these buildings were targeted, if the suspect or suspects were trying to target a specific building, people doing specific work. It's all unclear. We do know there's a news conference that should be happening any minute now, and we're going to keep monitoring that. Okay. Hopefully we'll find out some more information, some more concrete details when we hear from law enforcement.
That's going to happen at the Kroger, which is just down the street, stone's throw away from where all this is happening on Briarcliff Road. Authorities will gather there to give us some more information. The Centers for Disease Control, a fortress of security, and you really got to hand it to police and first responders here, who not only put their lives at risk to get situations like this under control, but the response that we have seen out there has been extraordinary. Multi-jurisdictional response from Emory University.
Yeah, this is crazy. Every day it's been some craziness.
Departments far and wide responding to this scene to secure the situation and to neutralize the gunmen, at least one of them, who we now know one of them is dead. We don't know if there were one or more, since we heard that there might be more than one scene here.
Police vehicle riddled with bullets.
CVS drugstore, but perhaps other locations. We saw police training their weapons in that vacant, which is all that parking lot across the street there is always vacant. I've never seen a car parked in that parking lot, but we did see police stalking that area with their guns drawn. So whether somebody was in the woods or the forest, whether it was the gunman in the CVS, we don't know. We're still working to gather as much information and as quickly as possible and confirm it before we pass it along to you.
Also might be important to note, just last week, Dr. Susan Menares was just confirmed as the new director at the CDC. Unclear at this point whether she was there when all of this happened. But as we look into a motive for this, I'm sure, especially with the FBI being involved now in the early stages of an investigation, they're going to look at all of those potential things in the suspect's past, their history, if this could be some kind of a political related incident. Well,
I heard, and perhaps if our executive producer, Cal Calloway, is still in the newsroom, I just happened to be in the newsroom overhearing. He was dispatching an assignment to Kevin Stewart, one of our reporters, about the CDC director perhaps visiting that campus on Monday, that she would be available for an interview with us on Monday. And I don't know if I heard correctly, maybe I didn't, but you have to wonder if something like that is going to change in the wake of what's happening here. You also have to wonder if the White House is keyed in on all of this, whether President Trump has been briefed, since this is such a high-profile federal institution, on what's happening. Police vehicles are streaming out of the Centers for Disease Control entrance right now. We see Fulton County Police there also on the scene. As I mentioned, this has turned into a multi-jurisdictional situation as police work to hopefully wrap up, which has been a very volatile scene, which has been unfolding for a good part of the past 90 minutes here.
That's right. And just to recap how this all started, it came in just after 5 with an alert from Emory University. Close proximity to the scene where this is happening at the CVS at Emory Point just after 5 o'clock. An alert was sent out by the university telling people that there was an active shooter situation and to run, hide, fight. It was then that we started to see this massive law enforcement presence focusing around the building. At one point, we saw officers with guns drawn. They were taking cover behind a dumpster there as they focused in on the building. And here's a map just showing you an overhead view to really just highlight what we're looking at here. There at the top left of your screen is Emory Point. That is where the CVS is. This is where it appears to have all happened. And then just across the street, the CDC
Can we get through a day without an active shooter situation? This is getting out of hand.
So all of these
Praying for the country.
And also just a few minutes ago, our Deidre Duke said that she is hearing from her law enforcement sources that there may be multiple scenes involved.
I mean, if you've ever driven in this area, especially in the morning, you might have an appointment at Emory University, a doctor's appointment or something going on there. You know how busy this area is. I mean, there is traffic along the Clifton Road corridor at all times, and that CVS services a really busy area of DeKalb County, the North Druid Hills area, where you have people coming out of the hospital or the doctor's offices.
Males with autism are super dangerous. Google Chris Chan. They can't get any, so they get mad.
For Disease Control, which, given that this happened just before 5 o'clock this evening, many of the regularly scheduled employees would have been letting out at this time. And we showed you the pictures not too long ago of the bullet impacts on the windows of the CDC building. And we can only presume, based on the height of the office that we were looking at here, that it was in that main building there. This is a picture that somebody from inside the CDC sent us of the impact of that bullet. We just don't know if the CDC was a target. In other words, we don't know if guns were trained on this building. These long rifles have the ability to impact things pretty significantly. So whether it was targeted or not, we just don't know at this point, but we're getting reaction from the governor at this point, Governor Brian Kemp, who released a statement saying that twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rush toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. Marty, the girls, and I are thankful to all those who answered the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC center. That from Governor Brian Kemp, who obviously has been very keyed into this whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, something we've been talking about is that green roof line right there. You see right there on the right-hand side of your screen. That is the daycare center that is attached in a way to the CDC campus, and we had it confirmed that those shots that were fired that hit a window in the building hit building 24, which is directly behind where this daycare center is located. Still not confirmed whether there were children there at the time, but again, the hours that they typically operate, according to their website, extend until 6 o'clock tonight. So just a really scary situation, to be sure, if there were in fact children in that daycare center.
People have lost it. People are crazy.
Police presence there, still on the roadway at Clifton Road. Our Eric Perry has been posted, if you will. He was one of the first reporters on the scene. Eric, you've been giving us some tremendous perspective of the police response there and the robustness of police presence in emergency vehicles. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Tom, hello. So I made that pilgrimage up that hill there to get closer to the scene with my photographer, Scott Simpson. Take a look here, an immense presence here by law enforcement officers from all over Metro Atlanta. Of course, you have Atlanta police here on the scene, but you have DeKalb. You also have Chamblee, Brookhaven. I see Sandy Springs from each and every corner, and I have seen representatives from the FBI here on the scene as well. So I'm going to direct my photographer. I want to take them all the way up. Do you see where that number 2 is at that red light there. Take a look at that scene. That is to the left, is where that CVS is. A lot of the action is focused, it seems like, there. On that scene, there are apartment complexes that are above that CVS, and of course, there are different businesses as well. You can see police tape, and of course, I believe that is a SWAT unit. I saw a DeKalb County SWAT unit racing up through here earlier as well. Then let's take them out. If you see some Grady ambulances as well to the left, you can see a huddle, probably the command unit, but still a very active scene here on this area. And then closer down is still a sea, and there's still people coming in, swapping out as they're getting ready for that press conference not too far from here as well. Just a perspective, this is probably about half a mile, maybe a little bit further than half than Briarcliff when you're coming up to Clifton. On the opposite side is that entrance to the CDC Center is where you can really see a lot of that as well. You can see an ambulance turning around. I'm not sure if there's anyone in it or if they're preparing anyone to be transported inside, or if they're just mobilizing and parking that to the side. But there is still an immense presence here. And you can still see a helicopter, which I believe law enforcement helicopter. I don't believe that is one of our news helicopters, pretty close to the ground, that's still been circling around this area as well. They are still
people really have to watch their backs everywhere they go now. What a shame. Thanks for the stream, and I hope everyone stays safe.
Here, closer to the scene, Tom, Courtney, just wanted to walk you through what we're seeing as we had an advantage closer to Briarcliff, but now we're able to really get eyes from the ground view here as well. So a lot happening behind me.
Important that you mention, Eric, that just because the situation has been neutralized in terms of the possible shooter, that as you mentioned, the investigation is really just beginning, so it's anyone's guess how long this, as we said, busy corridor of Clifton Road linking Briarcliff to Emory University is going to remain shut down.
Yeah, Tom, you mentioned that. So where I was earlier, where I wasn't able to go up any further, there were people there who lived in that apartment complex. They sent out some kind of coordination saying, it's not, you can't come in. They're not going to let you in and out, even if you do live there. I also, on my walk up, I passed by a couple of express buses. So this happened around 4 o'clock. Many of those buses coming in, taking those Rokers who live here at CDC or maybe Emory University or that hospital. Several of those buses are just parked to the side there. They can't go up any further, and they're kind of stuck in this scene here for quite some time. Not sure if there were anybody on those buses, but I saw those bus drivers standing up. Hey, Scott, do me a favor. Get ready. If you can, take it off for me and point back through there. You can see a procession of what looks like SWAT vehicles coming up through here, just showing that people are still coming in and out as well. So that looks like a pretty big truck that's going to be parading up to this scene as they just add on to the dozens of law enforcement officers that are already up here as well. I can't tell from this distance who they belong to, but just to show you that they're still just getting started. More police vehicles are coming in. I believe that might be Atlanta police, but of course they are starting to come in, and let's see where they park those vehicles here. We'll keep an eye on it, Tom, Courtney, but I just wanted to show you that before I left.
Yeah, remarkable to see that law enforcement continues to arrive on this scene now 2 hours almost into this developing situation, Eric. And just in the last 2 minutes, we're seeing an alert sent out from Emory University. They're saying a police emergency continues on the campus at Emory Point. Avoid the area now. Shelter in place has been lifted. So just kind of holds together with what we were seeing just about 20 to 30 minutes ago, where they were saying this is still very much an active situation.
I think at this point, they just want people to stay away as this investigation continues to unfold. This is a traffic camera, we believe, on Clifton Road, which
I hear the shooter's dead. I think
showing a still active police presence.
I hear the shooter's dead, but they don't really know if there was like just one or two or what's going on. Hugh Janus, thanks so much for the 10.
Waving hand, medium light skin tone. Mel just got here. Did they catch the shooter or not?
Yeah, no, it's just crazy. Literally, like almost every day this week, I feel like it's been something. It's just insane what's happening. I don't know if like when these situations happen, like other people get like incited or encouraged, or like they want to act out too.
Here at the live desk, watching this very camera. It's a G-dot camera, as you point out, at Clifton Road and CDC Parkway. On the bottom right of your screen right there is a SWAT vehicle, an armored vehicle that pulled up about 10 minutes ago and is right next to that body under the sheet. Whether they're going to remove that, we don't know. But everything that we're witnessing seems to confirm what Deidre Dukes has reported, that the shooter is dead, that there are multiple scenes. Perhaps that refers to the fact that multiple CDC buildings have bullet holes in them, appear to have been shot
CDC.
at.
Why would somebody want to target a
CDC?
CDC?
Top left of your screen,
What could be the
that,
reason?
G-dot camera. I'll report to you that about 10 minutes ago, I saw at least 24 police officers go down CDC Parkway toward the daycare center that Courtney has been referencing. Whether they weren't running. There was no urgency other than the fact that they were a phalanx of at least 24 officers who went down CDC Parkway toward the CDC, perhaps to investigate these buildings having been shot at.
Yeah, Russ, and you have to wonder, and I was going to ask Eric Perry about this, and it's unfair really to ask you, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and perhaps you can do that with me. What became of the employees inside the CDC who hadn't left for the day yet, or the people that might live in that apartment
Fake
building
news,
above
bruh. It's
the
a gun-free
drugstore,
zone. But really, thanks for reporting, you do.
Children inside the daycare. I mean, there's just so much happening on Clifton Road, and are people sheltering in place? Are they being allowed to leave CDC for the day, leave work? It's Friday afternoon, and
right. Well, I have some new information, Tom, that was just handed to me here at the live desk from DeKalb County Government Communications, which will offer some comfort to people who live in the area. Law enforcement currently responding to an incident involving an armed individual on or near the Emory University campus in DeKalb. The situation is contained, and there is no active threat to the public at this time. This, again, from DeKalb County Government Communications. We are asking all residents and members of the campus communities to remain indoors as a precaution while the investigation continues. Out of an abundance of caution and in the interest of public safety, we are also requesting news media outlets. Well, that's what happens with phones. It turned off.
They're supposed to have a press conference coming up too, I think.
But that's the most important information out there.
Exactly. So
They caught him with a bullet. Males with autism can't have relations with girls. People who can't have relations with girls are incels. It's inevitable.
Who live there or possibly
You're
work
gonna
there
snap.
will be
You're gonna
breathing
blow
a sigh
up.
of relief.
Gun-free zone, laughing
right
dog.
I just saw our transmitter tower.
So some of the most violent areas seem to be the gun-free zones, right? Like, oh yeah, no, this is it's a gun-free zone, and you see the signs, and maybe it brings a false sense of security. We're in a gun-free zone. All kinds of wild stuff happens in the gun-free zone. What happened here? Maybe I should change the feed.
Because it gives you an idea of just how close the Fox 5 studios are.
I think they might have lost connection. Okay.
Because that's where I was on the other side. Yeah.
Man, what I don't even know what to say. With the violence and how this week has been going, and it's back to school. These people don't have kids? Isn't it back to, shouldn't be getting ready for school supplies, taking care of their kids, adjusting the schedule? I guess they don't have kids? What is going on? Every day some ish, which you know?
I have flown into Emory numerous times. I know these views well. That area is also high-end rich people.
Oh, you have?
Mostly Democrats.
Oh shit, don't say that. Oh, yeah. Capstar, don't say that, man. What? So they're saying the shooter's dead, deceased, vamoose, kaput. They say self-inflicted, I believe.
Because it gives you an idea of just how close the Fox 5 studios are.
I think we lost Fox.
outside or?
Yeah, my grandfather is in ICU right now.
Related to the shooting?
No,
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather.
no problem.
Yeah, I've been through that myself.
Life is life.
I know, I hear it. Talk to prayer.
The end of times, violence everywhere, death and destruction. The weather is crazy.
Them looking over in the bushes to make sure
War,
that they are
people
combing
suffering,
through any type of evidence
diseases.
or any
They got
type
the
of
new
thing
China
that might be
virus coming.
happening, in talking with a lot of the people
really
who might
new,
have been
but
in the area when all of this
been blowing up
unfolded.
now.
Tom, Courtney.
It has to be such a relief to parents like the gentleman you spoke with to know that their kids are okay. Just knowing that this was a shooting where there were bullet holes that hit windows as far as we can see, and that we have confirmed that one of them hit a window that is located in the building directly behind within
Atlanta is the
daycare
Chicago of
center.
Georgia.
Did this man tell you if he's been told if there is a staging area, or were there directions given for parents to get their kids who are still sheltering in the daycare center?
It's not worth being a cop anymore. Like, it's just.
He has not. He said that I saw him talking to an officer, and the officer told him to stay right here in the area. That's why he really didn't want to move. But you can still hear some sirens coming in as people are coming in and out. But he really he was told to stay here in this area. I'm assuming there are probably other parents who are nearby or close, or maybe on the other side of where this scene is, trying to get to their child as well, Courtney.
So, Eric, people really aren't being allowed through that scene yet. I mean, they still have it blocked off, whether you have a kid that might be in the daycare center or not. We can presume that the parents have been communicated with, that their kids are okay. But you can imagine that, the frayed nerves out there as they just want to give their child a big hug and thank the Lord that they weren't involved somehow in this melee, this fatal melee that happened earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, he was just really grateful to get that message. He said that his child was going to be okay. Our Kim Luffler, who is at the hospital, she sent in an email of a screenshot because where that CVS is, which is on the other side, that there are different studios. There's an Orange Theory there. There are eateries there. There's a ballet studio there. They've been canceling classes because, as you can see, no one's able to come in, and I haven't seen a lot of people leaving this area as well. So if you have any type of business that's up there, you can expect those canceled classes, those canceled reservations. They're not letting anyone near that scene, Tom. This is as close as we've been able to get, and those on the other side of the tape, they're not going to be able to get any closer to that CVS or really this area.
Yeah, it's been a literal blockade, if you will, Eric, as we can see from the perspective of your camera there, and being one of the first reporters there.
For Maddie and something hing for school supplies.
Going, you just fired up your cell phone and you showed us what was going on in the early moments after this shooting unfolded, just before 5 o'clock this afternoon. To give you a quick recap, just located within a mile of our studios here at Fox 5 and directly across the street from the Centers for Disease Control, at least one gunman opening fire there at the CVS drugstore, which is located feet away from the CDC, just across the street. We know that suspect is dead. We saw from our helicopter earlier the body being brought out of the drugstore underneath a white sheet. We know that at least one civilian victim and one police officer have been transported to Emory University Hospital, which you could walk to from the CVS drugstore there on Clifton Road to be treated. We heard something about surgery involving the officer. We're working to learn more information about that. We are expecting a news conference from officials from the Kroger parking lot, which, if you've driven Clifton Road, you know that there's an uphill to the CVS from Briarcliff. Well, Kroger's just downhill from that area and very close in proximity to where all of this unfolded.
Yeah, this is all happening, of course, in an area that is just highly populated, densely populated with, as Eric mentioned, dance studios, restaurants. There are apartments on the upper levels in that same Emory Point center where the CVS is located. And so now we're understanding that shelter-in-place order has been lifted. and that the threat has been neutralized. Good to report that the children who were in the daycare center that's on the CDC campus are okay. Our Eric Perry is there and talked with a father who's still waiting to pick up his child, but sure to be a relief for him and many other parents who are still waiting to pick up their kids. Although it might take some time, as there are so many streets that are blocked off with this massive police presence that's still there in the area.
And so a couple of elements that we got into the Fox 5 newsroom. One of them was a gunshot that struck the CDC headquarters building across the street. And we know of at least one impact here. Take a look at that. And if you can see out the window how high that bullet
Sent you something.
before it impacted,
check it out when you can. Smiley
These are
face.
obviously impact-resistant windows. And so the bullet, as far as we know, didn't penetrate the window, but we know that buildings 21 at the CDC, 24, and perhaps building 18 were impacted by gunfire. What we still don't know is if that was an intended target or was just this a lunatic on the loose inside the CVS drugstore.
But again, as we've talked about, it's hard to believe that a bullet could be a stray bullet striking that high and on a building that's across the street from the CVS where the shooter, we understand, was located. Here is what Governor Brian Kemp is saying in reaction to the shooting. He said this: twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rushed toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us just how crucial they are. Marty, the girls and I are thankful for all those who answer the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC center. So Governor Kemp obviously referring to that shooting we saw at Fort Stewart earlier this week, in which 5 soldiers were shot by their fellow soldier. Thankfully, those soldiers pulled through. They were injured, of course, but also the CEO of DeKalb County is also responding to this situation. Here's her statement: "My thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by today's incident on the Emory campus. I am grateful for the swift and coordinated response from our law enforcement agencies and first responders. We are closely monitoring the situation and will provide updates as they become available." She says this: "I urge everyone to stay alert, remain indoors, and follow official guidance as we allow law enforcement to complete their investigation." So we continue to see this very large police presence there in the area. You see them still lining the street up and down Clifton Road. That is the street that divides the CVS there on the left. You can see the daycare center that we've been referring to there on the right on the CDC campus. And our Eric Perry, who is there on the ground, said just a few minutes ago he saw a SWAT vehicle head in the direction of the CDC campus with some of their SWAT team members there on the back of the truck.
And we mentioned, Courtney, you pointed out earlier that there's a daycare center right there, just feet away from where all of this unfolded. We saw some concerned parents waiting there, perhaps to collect their children. We know that that wasn't involved in this situation, mercifully. So we showed you the element where the bullet, presumably from a long rifle, hit the CDC. I want to play for you, and if we still have that sound in the control room, I'll give you a second to cue that up. What we heard in the moments when all of this unfolded, we heard the warning sirens wail earlier, and we caught some sound of that in the early stages of all of this unfolding. Listen to this.
Sirens. Man, I don't know what to say. What's going on? Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for the 10. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Mel.
That was an alert siren put out in the CDC area. This is
the
backyard of Fox 5.
The Montana
just
guy
to give you an idea of how close we are to where all of this unfolded and why our reporters were among the first there on the scene to report on what was going on in the early moments of when all of this chaos and confusion unfolded there in the CVS drugstore across the street from the CDC. We know that gunman has been neutralized, is dead, and we know that 2 casualties, including at least 1 police officer, have been transported to Emory University Hospital to be treated.
Yeah, and this quick update here from Atlanta Police. They're now saying that the incident involved a single shooter who is now deceased. 1 law enforcement officer was injured, as we know. Let's get out to our Eric Perry. He's been standing by there on the ground. Eric, what's the latest there?
Yeah, so you mentioned that I saw some SWAT officers on the back of a truck. They went into that CDC as well. I've been messaging several of my sources who work at the CDC. One of them told me they left right before all of this happened, but several of their colleagues are still inside. So we can maybe presume that maybe they're going to do a sweep inside that CDC to get those people out safely. But this all happened as people were wrapping up working or their work day here on a Friday. But I'm told that there still are people inside of the CDC that we're still sheltering in place, still on lockdown. So it is safe to presume that maybe they're going inside to bring them out safely. I'm looking over. I saw that father who was standing right there. He went to the other side there. I'm not sure if he got any new information or maybe was able to be reunited with his child there. But again, we are learning that there's still several employees that might still be inside that CDC sheltering in place during all of this. And I'm asking to see just exactly what that siren was. Did that come from the CDC or was that something that Emory implemented as well? So we'll work to get that information for you, Courtney and Tom.
All right, great reporting there, Eric Perry, one of the first reporters on the scene there, letting us know that there are still employees inside the CDC headquarters, you know, waiting to go home on a Friday night, you know, thanking God that they're safe, but probably anxious to get home to their loved ones and give everyone a big hug. Fox 5's Russ Spencer out in the newsroom collecting more information. Russ, what do you know?
Well, Tom and Courtney, you've done an excellent job recapping how all of this unfolded. I just want to add some perspective from the very beginning of this at 5 o'clock when we had Sky Fox over the scene. You talk about an active shooter situation. There were DeKalb police officers huddled behind their vehicle that was riddled literally with dozens of bullets. Yeah. This was the scene earlier as they came up into that parking lot, and this is what I'm talking about, hiding behind that vehicle. Do you see all the bullet holes in the windshield and in the front of that vehicle? That was the confrontation. So as we reflect on this, the active shooter situation is over. Again, the shooter has been neutralized, but this could have been a lot worse because that person was armed and ready to go and had a large weapon. We'll keep that officer in our prayers and keep you up to date as we learn more about his condition as he's in surgery as we speak, and the civilian for that matter. Tom and Courtney, back to you.
Yeah, you said it, Russ. This could have been so much worse, especially with more students in the area. If this had happened in a few weeks, there would have been a lot more people on the campus as classes would have started for the fall session. So as we continue to learn more details, it'll just paint the picture of maybe what was avoided here. And we are awaiting a news conference that should happen at any moment at the Kroger. And there it is. You can see the setup.
Press conference coming up.
I'm sure we'll find out more about at least what police are willing to share with us at this point. It is, of course, early in their investigation.
Yeah, we'll be very curious to know more about the deceased suspect here and his motives, obviously, his or her motives, what led up to all this, and the conditions, most importantly, of the officer who was shot and the other victim, who we understand are both being treated at Emory Hospital. At this time, we're going to take our Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and that's going to be quite an event, so we know our viewers are going to be keyed into that. Meanwhile, we're going to continue to monitor this situation unfolding at Emory because there's still a lot of moving parts and so many unanswered questions.
So many unanswered questions. And of course, if you're a parent like this man that Eric Perry has been talking with, you're just desperate to get reunited with your child. But that's a huge relief to know that all the kids are safe there at that daycare center. Of course, residents, you know, might be relieved who live in this area as well now that that shelter in place has been lifted. But this is a scene that I'm sure will stay in place for quite some time as police have to gather the evidence and just kind of wrap things up there after the threat has been neutralized. But again, Atlanta police now confirming that there was only one shooter involved in this.
They confirmed one shooter.
And that person is deceased. One DeKalb County officer shot, multiple shots fired there at a police vehicle. Someone has been transported to Emory University Hospital. And again, we're going to continue to stay on top of this situation on Fox Local and on fox5atlanta.com. And again, we will direct you here now to that preseason game, Atlanta Falcons, first preseason game of the season. But if you'd like to continue to follow our coverage of the shooting, you can join us on fox5atlanta.com or Fox Local for your smartphone or smart TV. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good night.
All right, Fox 5 Atlanta there. Great coverage of this extremely scary situation unfolding there on the campus of Emory University in downtown Atlanta. I'm Andrew Kraft. You're back here on live now. You've been watching Fox 5 Atlanta's coverage of this situation here. So we're going to take it from here. We do remember
we're waiting on the press conference update. Felony Fridays. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We're almost at 280,000 subscribers, almost there.
Johnny, you mind if I send something?
Crazy, man. People have lost it.
Keep it in there on the table. It's hardly ever used. Is that well, but it's there.
No, he's apparently stuck on the other side of the seas.
People are nuts, man. No regard for human life, mental health.
We're going to this. When you say press, do you want to show this? Right. No, just say you're okay, guys. Hopefully we have some good videos. Okay. Yeah. I have it. You ready to try? Okay, here, yes, sir. It's going to be taking like 8-9 hours, or yeah. Yes, I need a little bit like I'm sorry. What you got? You got an egg or? I have a tracker. Okay. I'm doing it. I love this. You know, I have a tracker. Yeah. You need a light? That's going to be totally different by the time we get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully the press conference will give some information, and if the cops actually passed away. I was hearing cop down, but
yeah. That's fine. You want me to do never messed with it though. I've never seen
shooter. Who's the shooter?
Because it gives you an idea of just how close the Fox 5 studios are.
Them looking over in the bushes to make sure that they are.
Take a look at this. Still a very, very active scene, but Emory University saying that the scene is contained, the situation is over, that the shelter-in-place order has been lifted. So while we wait for the press conference, Just wanted to set the scene now that we're a little past the top of this new hour. I'm Andrew Kraft. So our colleagues, like they said, like they promised, at Fox 5 in Atlanta, they are still going with this breaking news coverage. Let's get back out to them right now.
Combing through, reuniting those children, but also those employees that are still inside of the building as well. Of course, we are still waiting for the official news conference that's going to take place, which is a nearby distance. But this is probably a half of a mile on Clifton Road, up Clifton Road. If you were coming down Briarcliff, if you're familiar with this area near Emory, there's a QT, there is a barbecue restaurant that's up there. This entire half a mile still lined with nothing but police officers. Again, you're not allowed to go up to where we are right here, and there are apartments, there are eateries that are up here as well. I'm going to just do a little walk and talk. Scott Simpson, my photographer here, I know you're still talking, but you were in the parking lot. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but just walk me through a little bit what you heard, because you were standing outside. This is very close to our studios.
Just a succession of very loud, rapid gunshots. Multiple times. I heard it for like 7 or 8 minutes before I finally heard a siren and was like, something's going on. That's not construction. That's not just random city noise. And as soon as I got in, we were told there was an active shooter situation over here. So I jumped in my car, came over here, and this is multiple police cars had us pull over to get off the road so they could go around, armored vehicles. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Scott was one of the first photographers here. That's why he's so close to the scene, giving us a ground view here. But of course, Tom, will be monitoring the situation from the ground. We're not seeing anything as of yet that has changed. We still see people kind of standing around, but just wanted to give you that because he heard those gunshots. And then I posted to my X account, viewers sent in gunshots as well. So you can hear a visual. Maybe we can get that queued up at some point during this broadcast to just show you these are not fireworks. This was something that if you heard it, you knew something was going on, Tom.
Yeah, Eric, you've brought us some extraordinary perspective from the moments this whole melee unfolded. Eric Perry, thanks so much. In the beginning of the situation, we thought that these two victims, the officer and presumably somebody who was inside the CVS, were going to be transported to Grady Memorial Hospital since it is a level 1 trauma center. But with Emory University Hospital just literally feet away, we understand that the two victims were brought there. And that is where we find Fox 5's Kim Leffler. Kim, you're originally at Grady. Now you're there at Emory University. What can you tell us about the treatment of those two individuals?
Well, when we first got on scene here, I am still waiting to get an update about the treatment of the two individuals. But we saw a lot of people leaving the hospital right when I got to the hospital here. And we spoke with one gentleman who told us that he was here visiting his mother, and he went on lockdown for about an hour and 20 minutes. It was about 6:50 that they actually were let out of the hospital here. He was told that there was an active shooter, which is why that was happening. He told me he did not want to be a victim, and his mother was in the hospital here. He said she was asleep, so she missed it, but at the same time he was certainly concerned for his and her safety. But you can see this is Clifton Road right here. You can see the amount of DeKalb County.
Let me show you this video that AZ Intel just posted. Wow. Crazy, man. Wow. Mamma mia.
That all of the classes that were being held there were canceled tonight because of all this activity. They had a few classes scheduled for Friday evening, but that the studio is closed tonight due to this shooting. So certainly we're still waiting to get an update on the condition of the officer and the people brought to this location, and we will, of course, keep you updated as we learn more.
Kim, you've no doubt covered police-involved shootings at Grady, where multi-jurisdictional police show up to support officers who've been fired at and injured by gunfire and who are being treated. Do you see that same kind of presence there at Emory University Hospital, a place that on a daily basis wouldn't necessarily receive a gunshot victim, but in this case, given the proximity just down the street from the CDC and the CVS where all this happened, these two people were brought to.
Yeah, well, certainly, again, as we pan off to Clifton Road, you can see the amount of police units that are here. I'm seeing mainly DeKalb County police vehicles. I don't see too many other units here just in this section of Clifton Road where we are, but you can see it's entirely lined with police units. There certainly is that response that you were mentioning when an officer is shot and is recovering, as we are seeing here at this hour. But I want to take you to that gentleman that we spoke with a little bit earlier, who was evacuating after being locked down here at the hospital for about an hour and 20 minutes. Take a listen.
Oh, while we were sitting there waiting with my mother, we heard the sirens going, we heard the helicopters going, and they had us wait for about an hour and a half on lockdown. And then we heard several more sirens. So we didn't know what happened. Then I turned on the TV to see what the news said, and here it was, an active shooter. Then they didn't know how many people were being active, if it was a group or what.
And you guys just got out now?
We just now getting out. They don't even have it where we can get our cars. We have to walk over now because this system is shut down. So now we got to walk over here to find out what we need to do next.
And so where were you in the hospital when you guys
I was on the 7th floor, and they locked the whole 7th floor down. You couldn't go out, or you couldn't leave or come in.
Oh, wow. So were you in the hallway, in a room?
In the room.
Okay.
Yep, they made sure all the doors were locked.
Were you with your mother in the room?
I was with my mother.
Okay.
Yes.
How was she doing through all this?
She was asleep.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. That's the way to be.
Yeah, she was asleep, so... Yeah.
Did they tell you it was an active shooter at that
Yes.
point? Okay.
Yes, and as we were leaving, they didn't hear it that it had been lifted, but the guy that was in the room with me, they sent in a text on his phone that it was lifted. So that's how we found out.
What was going through your head when this was happening?
I don't want to be a victim. That was it. Didn't want to be a victim, no part of it. So I'm on my way home.
I'm sure you're relieved to be out and be going home.
And the funniest thing is, never come to Clifton Road, always go to Midtown. First time.
Jeez.
Won't be back.
Yeah, certainly some frightening moments for everyone here at Emory University Hospital, and we are certainly expecting to see this police presence here and for a while now, and certainly waiting still, as I mentioned, to get an update on the officer's condition. But of course, as soon as we get that, we'll bring it right to you.
Just can't imagine what it must have been like in those moments, as he described how they locked the doors, they didn't let anyone in or out. I mean, that holds together with what we've heard from the Emory University campus and the CDC, that they really went into lockdown as the situation was unfolding. But, you know, he said, I won't be back. Now, of course, you can't confirm, you just can't control these kinds of things from happening. But you can understand why he's not really leaving a great review.
Kim, wondering if I'm trying to look over your shoulder, if the area, are people able to access and egress the hospital complex on North Decatur Road behind you? Because we know that, on the other side of Clifton, it's like completely shut down. So what's the situation behind you in terms of coming in and out?
Well, when we were driving up onto Clifton Road here, you can see cars kind of coming in and out. The road is open. We had no problem driving up here earlier. Of course, we're asking people to, avoid this area because you can see the amount of activity. But the roadway is open right by the hospital entrance where we are currently. So we're not seeing as, wide of a road shutdown as it sounds like it's happening in other locations. But the road here is open right by the hospital entrance.
That's good to know, not only for emergency vehicles that need to get in there, Kim, but, people have loved ones in the hospital who they want to see. So it's good to know that they can get in and out of there easily enough from North Decatur Road. Important to mention, not Briarcliff, that's shut down. This is a shot from our camera, which is poised up on the Fox 5 broadcast tower. And this is going to show you just how close the television station is to where all of this unfolded at the CVS drugstore across the street from the CDC headquarters. I mean, you can certainly walk there from here. And when our marketing manager, Rick Snyder, went out into the back of the parking lot to go home for the night, he heard the gunshots going off where all of this happened.
Yeah, it's so close to our building here. Our Russ Spencer was the one who interviewed Rick, talking about those first moments when
they're getting ready.
The road, because it becomes too hectic for all of you all to start trying to ask your questions at the same exact time.
Yeah, I gotta go. We ain't taking questions today. It's too hot.
I'm tell you which direction
I ain't telling you shit. Get out of here.
Going to ask that
I'm kidding.
Question. Lean in so I know. Okay, does everybody hear me?
Yes, we heard you, Mama.
In about 15 or so minutes.
15 minutes?
As soon as I'm ready,
I ain't got time for that.
We will give you a little bit of lead time so you can contact your master control so they can start rolling.
You're going to give all names before so you're not asking?
It's going to be Mayor Dickens and Chief Shearbaum. Okay. You all should already have their names. If not, you got time to look on the website.
You can look it up. Google, baby.
See, you were talking, so that's why you didn't hear me. See?
That's why you didn't hear me, baby.
You were talking.
You talking, baby. You talking while I'm talking, baby. Don't make me get you.
But I will let you all know in enough time so you can call back to your desk, okay? If this is anybody's news helicopter,
somebody need to move this with the helicopter y'all got going up here.
Have them not
move it.
Over. If it's police, it's fine. But if it's a news helicopter, they gotta move. Okay.
Woo. Okay, y'all get it together, get it right. The news helicopters covering the live situation. Y'all need to move along. Who's speaking? Google it. All right. Don't talk over me while I'm talking. You might have heard me. You hear me? Don't you say? All right. She ain't playing. So we're waiting for that to come up.
When this all started.
So we'll continue to let you know what happened in the early moments of this. Again, it began around 5 o'clock this afternoon, and the Cap police officers were there in force, pointing their guns.
All right, Fox 5 Atlanta with great coverage there. What we do have right now, we have this shot on the ground, on the scene. Take a look at this. This is a live picture right now. Now, we just wanted to break out of Fox 5 Atlanta because we noticed this out of the corner of our eye. This is in the middle of the very, very active scene. You see there this gentleman, this white male in that short sleeve, red plaid shirt, handcuffed. You see him there, handcuffed. Now, we don't know. We don't want to speculate. We just notice these moments that stick out to us during these major developing situations, like a shooting that we've been covering for the last 2.5 hours on the campus there of Emory University near the CDC headquarters. So not entirely sure why this individual is being apprehended by Atlanta police. What we do know is, according to Atlanta police, they tell us the suspect is dead in this shooting.
Oh, no, they said he's dead. He said he's dead. So.
But this caught our eye, and we had to break in because we saw this individual being apprehended. We're not entirely sure why. We don't know. He's being put into the back of this police cruiser here. And so we were, kind of waiting for Fox 5 Atlanta to break in with it. We didn't want to miss it. We didn't want him to be put in the vehicle without having shown you it. So,
who's that? His family, cousin?
Once again, I'm going to stipulate we have no idea why that individual was just apprehended, and we do not want to make definitive links to that individual, to the scene or the story, but it caught our eye, and we had to show it to you nonetheless here. So remember, we were told by Atlanta police that an officer has been injured in this shooting and that the suspect is dead.
They're saying a deputy is dead, so...
And, of course, we're still waiting
we were hearing reports about that earlier.
Press conference to begin here. Not entirely sure when. No idea on the timetable for the press conference. Also, we do have some new video coming in from some of our Fox 5 Atlanta colleagues, including reporter Eric Perry. You've been recognizing him. He's been on the scene for some time. He was one of the first reporters on the scene. He obtained this video. This is what we call natural sound, natural video. You can hear the gunshots. Take a listen. Let's watch. Okay, so what we wanted to do, we played that video twice for you, but you heard the amount of gunshots that went off. That was that cell phone video. Looks like someone just captured it near their balcony of their apartment here. So had to get that to you. We're getting a lot of these new elements in as we continue to tell this story, this shooting outside of the CDC complex.
Man. Atlanta's Emory University, a CDC employee told CNN that he saw a man approach the steps of a building at an agency's campus, put a backpack down, pull out a rifle, and start shooting at the building. Ooh. Oh, no.
Point in about 12 minutes.
You know, Russ, I don't know a whole lot about rifles. I don't know if you do. Rick obviously does because he heard the sound of what he described as long rifles.
Right.
But to make it from the CVS over the CDC campus and up to one of those windows, you have to imagine that was one powerful rifle. I mean, that, and then we saw the impact that the bullet made in the window, the impact-resistant window. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
It is, and it seems unlikely that it was an accident, but perhaps police will be able to shed some light on that. Obviously, we're so early in the investigation, and we don't want to be offering up opinions or things that we have not confirmed. But I think it's fair to say, based on observing what's happened there at the CDC and the fact that as many as 3 buildings were hit, that doesn't sound like an accident.
No, indeed. And again, as you said, we just don't know if the CDC was an intended target or if this was just a crazy person on the loose inside of a CVS drugstore.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe he was mostly a peaceful person. Maybe it's mental health, like everybody else. You know, if you ever want to, like, just whatever, it's mental health. Mental health, autism, whatever. I feel like everything is just labeled that. We don't know if it's conclusively that or not. Some people, I think, are just evil. There was a chase this morning, a police chase, and they try to pit maneuver her. They kind of somewhat partially did. She kind of crashed to the side. She gets out of the car and starts screaming at the cops and on the phone. The news broadcaster is like, oh, well, I guess she's having a mental episode, mental health. We don't know that. Some people are just you know, my thought was maybe she's just a bitch. I don't know, like maybe she's just crazy. But I guess that's all mental health. All mental health.
Good job. Got a place right here for you.
I need to check and because we are live now.
Gunman in Atlanta was targeting CDC headquarters because he believed the COVID vaccine made him sick. No! No, no! No, no! No, no, sorry. No!
Okay, ¿este shot te sirve?
No! What the?
Atrás o adelante. Tengo que tener cuidado con todo el mundo.
Really? No. Could that be the explainer why he went to target the CDC then? Oh, what do you guys think about the vaccine? I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about that anymore, or is that still restricted on YouTube? I don't know. Wow. Some people have regrets. I see some people that regretted taking it, and I don't know, like they've had some ailments and they think it's the vaccine. But of course, if you ask any of the health professionals, they just say, well, no, it's like something else. It has nothing to do with that. You're overreacting. You know, but some people, I saw some people had regrets about that. And then they were doing all kinds of like holistic stuff to supposedly like get the vaccine out of their system, to try to like, oh, well, I only took one shot. I didn't take the second shot. Or I only took one shot. Or I took the first and the second shot, but I didn't take the boosters. And so they're doing like all this stuff to try to like wipe it from their system or whatever. Some people are really like deeply into that. And so, and some people feel like it's ruining their life. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a big percentage, but some people do regret it. I've heard of stories of people trying to like, oh yeah, I took the first one, I didn't f with the second one because of the way the first one made me feel or whatever, you know. I didn't get it. I didn't get the shot. I mean, I know there's a lot of new people, so maybe there's people that don't know. I just didn't feel like I needed to. I was just cautious. I had a mask on for a little while, then I just got whatever, you know, after they. And I think I've had it a couple times. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe. And I just stayed at home. I stayed at home and just avoided people and took care of myself, and like that was it, you know. But that's what they're saying. BNO News, which is a pretty reliable source, and it could make sense because you don't know what's in somebody's mind. You don't know. You can't say what's in somebody, how somebody feels or whatever, or what's common sense, what's not common sense. Breaking: gunman in Atlanta was targeting CDC headquarters because he believed the COVID vaccine made him sick. Oh hell no! Hell no! Oh man!
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk.
Lucy says I regret taking it. Cakes Boo said better than being intubated and possibly dead. Maybe this guy. I wonder. I mean, I haven't seen a name for the suspect yet. I haven't seen a name for the suspect yet, but it, you know, I don't know. Is this another Luigi Mangione sticking it to the man, sticking it back to healthcare or whatever? And maybe this person felt, for whatever reason, that maybe, you know, this affected him in a certain way, he regretted taking it. Oh yeah, there's the CDC warning about the mosquito bite virus spreading in China. That's happening too.
Digamos, ultimada. Sin embargo, la restricción se mantiene. No solamente de Celis para efectos del tráfico vehicular, sino también las restricciones en todos los alrededores para transeúntes. ¿Cuál es la recomendación? Sabemos que son momentos en los que la familia está regresando a casa.
That's crazy.
Invitaciones a mantenerse rectos.
Yeah. Look at this. So they're saying, apparently they're saying CDC was the target. While we wait for the press conference, check this out. Police believe, after speaking with the shooter's family, that the CDC was the target. After speaking with the suspected shooter's family members, police are operating under the theory that he was either sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID-19 vaccine. Wow. You say Mel is conspiracy central. I'm just reporting what's in the news. What I'm going to do now? Report it? I'm just telling you what the guy in his head felt and thought. And it was my choice to get it or not. You can't force me. I know they always talk about democracy and they want to force you if you don't believe in what they believe. You can't force me. My body, my choice. What you going to do? Y'all advocated on that. So if I say it's my body, my choice, you can't force me. That's what you guys been preaching. It's my body, my choice. But anyway, that's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild, and really unfortunate that somebody died because of that. I don't know what was going on. I'm very curious about this person's medical history and what happened to them. Damn.
Están llegando dos.
No, I'm not getting no PPL. PPL stuff is very dangerous, actually. he'd be up.
Check.
But yeah, I don't know. Seriously though, yeah, that's just crazy though. To somebody to go do that, go out and mass shooting. Well, I guess I don't know how many people he shot, but Pat Pup Mom said, "I'm surprised something like this didn't happen sooner for the same theoretical reason." That's what they're saying. That's what people are reporting. I guess this guy had an issue with the CDC. I heard the officer's dead. That is wild.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I just need my question captured. I just need my question captured on
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see maybe when more information comes out about his history, medical health, mental health, whatever comes out. I wonder. I wonder what happened, to the shooter. Like according to him, and it's been years, right? So, did he have the effects he's claiming to have all these years, or did they just, start up now? What's up with that? That is crazy.
Going back to that video where we saw what I counted as 18 shots in rapid succession, and going back to our marketing director, Rick Snyder, who had a sort of a firsthand view of this when the sirens went off. He was in our back parking lot and heard sirens after the gunshots, which he also heard. He described it as what sounded like
my choice, and I am grateful that I didn't get it. Side effects of that thing are still unknown.
What kind of...
You like
Job for 9. Thank you so much for the file. Hope you're doing good.
Trailer, you like it? Thanks, brother. Hey, Priya, just pretend.
I'm just kind of hanging out for this press conference because I'm curious. Though I'll probably be let down, but I'm curious if they're going to have any new information about the shooter.
Back there.
He felt the COVID-19 vaccine made him sick and traveled to the CDC and opened fire from the steps of the building. One officer was killed along with the shooter. Wow.
That video taken from one of the apartments above the CVS where all of this happened just before 5 o'clock this afternoon. A police officer and another victim were transported to Emory University Hospital, which is just a walk up the street toward North Decatur Road, only yards away from where that happened. Thank goodness medical response teams were so close. You have the CDC campus right across the street, a heavily fortified institution there, federal property, heavily guarded, and so the response of officers was rapid and quick and their ability to neutralize the shooter. We now know that it was one gunman involved here, was impressive to say the least. We're just so glad that there were no other casualties reported. And so now I'm guessing because the CDC is across the street, it's a federal building, and that's why you had the FBI coming in there, federal investigators.
Fairly early on, I might add.
Right,
too.
yeah, right out of the gates when all this happened.
And so much to secure. Again, we were getting that video from someone who was taking the video from their apartment. So many people who actually live in this area, and I can't imagine how that must feel to be ordered to shelter in place during a situation like this in your home. Let's get back out to our Eric Perry, who's been there on the ground. Eric, what are things like there now?
Hey, Courtney, Tom, Russ, everyone back there at the studio. So I'm talking on the phone to someone who lives right above that CVS. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. You're talking with us now in the air. We really do appreciate it. Walk us through when you heard those gunshots there and really what all happened.
Yeah, so I thought it was like fireworks or like construction. It was like an hour and a half ago. I'm guessing they were from like a machine gun because it was just in rapid succession. It went on for like over a minute, just like one after the other. I thought it was like, it must have been a drill or something. There were like sirens going off. I looked outside and obviously I didn't think it was like super dangerous, so I fully like stepped out on the terrace, like up my balcony to like look, and there were like guys in uniform with like machine guns and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna head back inside.
Now, did you see any of the...
Whoa. What happened? They got cut off? YouTube cut them off. Okay. What the...
Head back inside.
Now, did you see any of the injured? We know an officer was injured, and we know someone else was injured. Did you see any of those people injured there or hurt?
I don't know if it's like those people, but I did see like an officer. I think she was a lady, but she was like holding on to like other officers, and they were like kind of assisting her like towards a vehicle. And I also saw people like getting escorted out of the CVS. I was just like taking pictures out of my window. So.
Oh no! The Atlanta shooter was an anti-vaxxer targeting the CDC ? Oh no! It might be time to step up the monitoring of right-wing terrorism. Oh, no.
That the news conference should start in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But we do have that new reporting from John Miller. I'm going to read this to make sure I get it correct. The law enforcement official tells John Miller that after speaking with family members, police are operating under the theory that the shooter either was sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID vaccine. So you understand why he may have been targeting
Oh, no.
the CDC.
That's crazy. The Atlanta shooter.
Yes, to make sure I get it correct. The law enforcement official tells John Miller that after speaking with family members, police are operating under the theory that the shooter either was sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID vaccine. So you understand why he may have been targeting the CDC. That's information that we're getting. And we've also been told that people around that area believe they saw that gun being pointed toward that building. That goes along with the reporting that we had earlier. And of course, I told you about sources telling me we needed to be here around 4:50 because they believed someone was trying to attack the CDC. This person, of course, according to the folks who were outside the CVS, was standing there with what looked like a long rifle, dressed in black, firing toward that building. We have that video that you played at the top of this show where you can hear shot after shot, people saying they heard as many as 30 shots. We believe at that point, an officer, DeKalb County police officer, engaged with the shooter. That officer was shot. We know the suspect was taken down.
That's so sad. And now they're saying a cop was killed. And they're saying this guy, a CDC employee told CNN that he saw a man approach the steps of a building at the agency's campus, put a backpack down, pull out a rifle, and start shooting at the building. Wow. And family members, they spoke with family members who said that the guy was operating under the theory that he was either sick or believed he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID-19 vaccine. Oh, that's just crazy, dude. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there validity to this? Is it possible? I guess we're gonna have to see. Oh man, what was the side effect? What was he feeling supposedly? Oh man.
Between when we first heard word, at least let us know that the threat had been neutralized. I mean, it was probably about 90 minutes at least that I can remember. So it just had to be so scary for students like her or residents like her in those apartments who live nearby.
Yeah, because it started just before 5, and then we really didn't realize that things had been brought to a conclusion until close to 6:30, so like 90 minutes after this thing started. So we've been given a 2-minute warning with this news conference where we're going to learn a whole lot more information about what happened. In the meantime, speaking of the gunshots that rang out and how loud and significant they were, I want to play for you video that somebody who actually lives in those apartments took on their cell phone as all of this was happening. Listen.
Where's Fauci? Yeah.
Just absolutely stunning video there you're seeing that was taken by a resident who lives in those apartments. Looks like they live right above where the CVS is, where these shots were fired. And as you pointed out, Tom, I just think it is so stunning to see these cars driving by as these shots are fired in succession. Now, I looked it up, and there is no limit on magazines in terms of a long gun. You could have, it would be quite normal to have a 20-round capacity for a long gun. Now, I'm not sure if law enforcement, when they come out and give us more details.
By the way, for those, as far as the vaccine, there is a virus spreading around in China. I forgot the name of the place, a mosquito virus. It's not like new, but it's like blowing up like crazy right now, that mosquito virus. And apparently they don't have any kind of like medication besides a vaccine you can take for it. So if you're interested in taking the new virus vaccine, that is available apparently. I was reading an article about it. You can take a vaccine for that new mosquito bite virus.
All right, Fox 5 Atlanta in their coverage. We do have the press conference starting right now live. The Atlanta Mayor, Andre Dickens, speaking to the press.
My name is Andre Dickens. I'm the mayor of the city of Atlanta. I'm joined here today by Atlanta Police Department Chief Shearbaum, Atlanta Fire Rescue Chief Smith, as well as FBI SAC Brown to my right, and the DeKalb County PIO Officer Wells. We're just a few of the individuals and teams that are here that's been on scene for the last 2 hours as I've witnessed the coordination amongst many of this active shooter incident that occurred today on the campus of Emory University, just off site of the CDC and next to this CVS pharmacy. This active shooter incident started this afternoon, and Chief Shearbaum will give you some of the details regarding that. I've witnessed over the last 2 hours a very coordinated response. A lot of training had to go into how these men and women of Emory University, the DeKalb County Police, the FBI, the City of Atlanta Police, Fire and Rescue from both DeKalb and the City of Atlanta, the GBI, Georgia State Patrol. I saw officers coming from all over to be able to respond to this incident. At this time, Chief Shearbaum will give you more of the details, but at this time, the shooter is deceased. And we don't have any civilians that have been shot in this active shooter incident. Thank God for that. We do have a DeKalb County officer that was also shot. And at this very moment, the CEO of DeKalb County, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, as well as the police chief of DeKalb County, are at the hospital right now, meeting and talking with individuals, the families, and other officers that were involved having to respond to this emergency situation. They will shortly come to this very same spot to give a press conference and an update on that officer and that incident. And at this time also, on the CDC's campus, there are 92 children that are in a daycare that is on this campus. They are safe, and we are setting up with the CDC and all connected parties to be able to get those families reunited with those children at a local school very nearby, and we have the address of that. That chief will give you the specific address and name of that school nearby. So we are working to unify families, and at this time, there have been no civilian casualties, but this was an active shooter incident. The shooter is now deceased. The campus is, there are no threats on the campus currently, but we still have an active investigation. Atlanta Police Department will be the investigating party. And so we ask that while things are safe, that you don't drive in that part of campus, because we need to make sure that the investigation goes through without any obstruction. Again, to the men and women that work at the CDC, we know that you've had a tough go of it in the past year, and my heart goes out to you as uncertainty was around your occupation and you being citizens of Atlanta. That means something to me. And then today, this occurs. We are with you, we stand with you, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we bring resolve to the situation. And FBI SAC Brown, he may be able to tell you more about some of the windows that might have been shot on various floors of the CDC as gunfire did take place. The other thing is to those parents of those 92 children that are at the CDC. I'm a parent as well. I know your uncertainty and your fear and your concern has been high. We wanted to come give you this message that all the children are safe and that we will be making sure that you get reunited with them as soon as possible. I know your heart is just really, really aching, but the good news is none of them have been injured, and we will get you connected to those, to your loved ones really soon. I'll come back to this microphone after others will be given a chance to speak. Now I turn it over to Chief Darren Shearbaum, as Atlanta Police Department has been in coordination with all the other outstanding agencies as we've been working together. And this is why we train on active shooter drills, et cetera, around this region. This has been a group project and a coordinated effort. And Darren Shearbaum, the Atlanta Police Chief, will now address you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief. Just give you an update and some additional information what the mayor provided. So this afternoon at approximately 4:50, the Atlanta 911 Center became aware of a report of an active shooter that was occurring at 1600 Clifton Road. This is right at the intersection of Clifton Road and CDC Parkway, immediately in front of the CDC campus. Officers from multiple agencies responded, from the campus, across the region, from our federal partners and our state partners responded to the scene. Officers arriving found a critically injured DeKalb County police officer that was down. He was immediately extracted from the scene and taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. Officers could still hear gunfire occurring inside the CVS drugstore that is right there at the intersection. So officers moved quickly to attempt to find the shooter and to neutralize the threat to the community. We later found the shooter on the second floor of the CVS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted. He was removed from the location by Atlanta Fire Rescue to render aid. He did pass at the scene. We also know that the CDC campus did receive multiple rounds into their buildings. Right now, as the mayor stated, we are not aware of any injury that occurred to anyone on that location. 4 other individuals did later arrive at the hospital. They were retreated for stress and anxiety symptoms. They were not injured in the shooting. And to reemphasize what the mayor stated, the children in the daycare center are unharmed. We have law enforcement and medical professionals with them, and we are coordinating the return of those children to their families. We've already put this out. We want to reemphasize it. The CDC leadership is communicating this to all parents, but the reunification site is at the Clifton School, which is located at 1900 Starvine Way, Starvin Way in Decatur. And we want to again reassure all parents and loved ones that their children are okay. We do believe there was a single shooter, and we do believe that single shooter is deceased. Right now, the investigation is being conducted by the Atlanta Police Department's Complex Case Squad, by the GBI and the FBI in a joint investigation until we know more information as to what transpired. The Atlanta Police Department is lifting up the DeKalb County officer, the DeKalb County Police Department in our prayers, and I ask everyone that is watching this broadcast to do the exact same thing. And I want to commend the men and women of law enforcement from all across this region that when this community need them, no one shirked from the danger. And every officer from multiple jurisdictions responded and immediately moved to end this threat. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Paul Brown, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Atlanta Division.
And like the chief and the mayor said, we immediately responded to the scene. At this time, we're not aware of any casualties on the campus of the CDC, but in conjunction with our partners, we're methodically clearing that to ensure that that is accurate and that is remains so. And then once that's done, we'll assist with processing the scene and conduct the investigation jointly with our partners.
Mayor, Chief, we'll get ready for questions. We'll start on this side. We may not be able to get to everyone, but we'll start with you, Rob, over to the mayor's right.
Right. Good evening, Mayor. Is it believed right now that the CDC was targeted in this attack?
Well, I'll let Chief Sherbaum ask anything around the investigation. He'll be able to answer that. But right now, it's so preliminary. I read social media and I get calls from a number of you that have heard things about this individual's background. He's a white male, and he has he is a known person that may have some interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now with any confidence until the investigation is fully conducted. But I think that in a short order, you'll know more about this individual and about some assumptions of his motives, but can't say right now.
All right.
Can you tell us anything more about the suspect? What kind of weapon did he use? How many rounds went into the CDC building?
Chief, you want to?
No, yeah, we can tell you multiple rounds were fired. We can tell you that multiple rounds were fired, both we believe at law enforcement and potentially at the CDC. Purposely, we can't say it definitively, but it would appear we can't rule that out right now.
Is that CVS a two-story store, or was he in some other kind of place above the store?
We believe it's a multiple-story building, but he was on the second floor of the building that houses the CVS.
Does he have a criminal record?
We can't release that at this time.
Did the man live in that building?
Allow me to let someone else ask a question. Anyone over here?
There's Mama.
So
Mama's still there?
This shooting comes on the heels of a few other high-profile shootings, including the one at Fort Stewart, including numerous on Edgewood and some other neighborhoods. I'm curious to what extent can the city confront what seems to be a rash of gun violence without state-level intervention?
So your question around a number of high-profile shootings, Fort Stewart, here at Emory and others across the nation and in the state of Georgia, is definitely one that we have to pay attention to. Mass shootings, active shooter scenarios should not become the norm. We have a number of individuals in this country that have access to high-powered weapons. And for individuals with those high-powered weapons that may have mental challenges, or those individuals with high-powered weapons that are angry, when they choose to use those weapons in a way that harms multiple people, we have to put an end to that in our society. So this is something we do have to have a national and a state, a full conversation across the nation and across the state of Georgia, not just in one city. As you see, this is a coordinated effort across DeKalb, across college campuses, the FBI, the GBI. As you see active shooters across the nation, we've just been added to the statistic.
You said right
here in black shirt.
Thank you. We're hearing that the officer passed away. So he was critically injured. Did he pass away? Or is his condition?
Well, at this time, it is a DeKalb County officer. And we want to make sure that DeKalb County is able to respond to what's going on with that officer. We know that he was shot and critically injured. And at this time, as I stand here, I can't give you that information that you just asked. We have the PIO of DeKalb County here. And as I said, in short order, you will hear from the DeKalb County Chief and the DeKalb County CEO.
All right, over here.
Can I ask, why was the DeKalb officer there? I know this area is kind of on that border. But just talk about that, maybe Chief Sherbaum or you, Mr. Mayor.
I want to talk about how mutual aid and how we're all kind of together.
This is an area that is part of the city limits, but inside of DeKalb County, so it's not uncommon for patrol patterns to cross for multiple jurisdictions. They may share the space. We don't know why the officer was there. Was he going to work? Was he coming home from work? We don't know if he was on patrol. We will know that at the end of the investigation.
Hang on, Brian. She's got it.
Do you want to give an update?
So we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter.
So you can't.
Yes. Yes, we can confirm that our officer was responding to the threat of the active shooter.
Can you give an update on the condition? There have been several media reports that he's passed away.
So we can't confirm that at this time. Like Mayor said previously,
Multiple media outlets are saying that the cop passed away. There was a troll in the chat. Oh, fake news, fake. I blocked his ass. You're never coming back anyway. But yeah, there was multiple sources saying that. Now, I think the reason they're not confirming, it could be a multitude of things. Maybe they're trying to contact the family. Maybe they're trying to contact the victim's family. Maybe they're trying to confirm certain things. Maybe they want certain officials to speak on it. I don't know.
We cannot confirm at this time. This is in the earliest stages of the investigation.
But there is multiple
the same
sources
questions you
reporting
have,
that.
law enforcement has. And so everything that is the question of the nation, we're going to get the answer to, and we'll be able to report back as soon as we can.
All right, Univision.
We're hearing this maybe for the cab, but was this officer a rookie officer? We heard basically he was almost ambushed a little bit when he actually arrived on scene.
So any information about the officer will come from Interim Chief Pedrick later this evening, including his status and how long he was with the department.
All right. Is the white car with the trunk open and shot up, is that connected to the suspect?
It's part of the crime scene at this time. We can't confirm if it was the car that the suspect drove, but it is being searched by the police and it's being held as evidence.
All right. We're going to take the last question right here.
Do you guys have a timeline of when the gunfire was called in and how quickly officers responded and how quickly the suspect was essentially...
4:50 p.m. is when the first call came in. Law enforcement arrived very, very quickly thereafter. Oftentimes when officers arrive, they're so quickly engaged in the scene they can't radio out. So we'll be reviewing all video to determine when the first officers arrived. But the response was from multiple agencies. I wish I could name everyone right now, but the citizens of the Atlanta region should be proud of their law enforcement today.
Mayor, you want to give a parting statement before we go?
Yeah, as Chief stated, this was a coordinated effort. When I was here around 5:15 or so, I was seeing not only DeKalb County and Atlanta, we were seeing Gwinnett County. We saw officers from Dunwoody. We saw, of course, Emory, the FBI, GBI, Georgia State Patrol. Everyone was responding because there were shots being fired, calls for shot being fired right there in front of the CDC, and then shots fired inside of the CVS. And so you're hearing, everyone responded. It was hundreds of officers as well as fire rescue. And at this time, we've spoken with Emory President Finvez, as well as all of the individuals at the CDC, the leadership there, and the leadership of DeKalb County, et cetera. Everyone will continue to give updates throughout this evening. This very same spot will be utilized by DeKalb County as they return from the hospital really soon, as they're talking with families. And as more information becomes available that we can share about the suspect that is now deceased, we will make sure that we share that because we want you to know the mindset, what might have led to this so that we never have it happen again. We want right now to give this update that the area is clear. No threats continue to exist, and we're going to start reuniting families with those children that are in that daycare. And again, the campus has the all clear sign. Stay out of that area right there in front of the CDC and where the CVS is, because it is an active investigation that's being led by APD in coordination with FBI, GBI, and of course with DeKalb County there. That's it at this time.
Thank you, everyone. For any updates, please make sure you follow the Atlanta Police Department social media. That's where we will have updates. That's also where we will let you know where we will have our next press conference, and we'll also try to send an email. Thank you, everyone.
Officer Wells, we're hearing the press conference is at 8:30 at the hospital.
Ready to go.
So,
okay, there in that Kroger parking lot, that live press conference with Atlanta officials, including the mayor, but also the police chief. Let's go back. Let's recap for you what we all just heard. We're going to do that with some of the aerial footage from the scene earlier this afternoon. Let's take this. So this is what we know, that a DeKalb County officer has been shot and critically injured. We know from the DeKalb County law enforcement public information officer, that very officer was in fact responding to the active shooter scene and situation. So we know he was responding to the scene itself. So the suspect in all of this is dead. That shooter was found on that second floor of the CVS. Now, you heard from law enforcement, they are not entirely sure yet if officers neutralized the shooter or if the shooter did so himself.
Self-inflicted, right.
Took his own life. So he died at the scene, the suspect did. What is so fortunate about this story, no civilians were shot in this shooting. The scene is contained, though the investigation is very active still. So we also know that the CDC campus received multiple rounds of gunfire into their building. That's according to the Atlanta Police Department and the chief there. They cannot speak on the motive of the shooter. And so just recapping this for you. Now, we are anticipating some type of press conference, I believe, from one of these local hospitals on the scene, from DeKalb County law enforcement officials and elected leaders. So that, I believe, is going to be outside of the hospital where this officer is being treated right now for critical injuries. So what we want to do right now, we have standing by someone we rely on a lot.
All right. So we're going to leave it at that for now. I will come back later if there's an update, whether it's on the main channel or the second page. And we'll see later. Maybe they confirm or what happened to the officer. Just crazy insanity. A very violent week. You know, all these mass shootings and cops getting shot or killed or whatever. It's a lot of violence. All right, guys, man. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me for now. Appreciate you.